Welcome to Explainer Insight. Today, I'm going to explain the drama movie called Adoration, released in the year 2013. In New South Wales, childhood friends Ross and Liz and their families live next door to each other. Ross's son, Tom, and little son Ian, who are both 18, are also best friends, and the four of them spend all their time together. Ross's husband Harold is offered a job in Sydney and goes there to make arrangements, even though Ross does not want to move. That night, Ian kisses Ross, and although she is hesitant, the two of them end up having intercourse. Tom witnesses Ross coming out of Ian's room, confused and frustrated. Tom tries to seduce Lil, who pushes him away, and he tells her what he had witnessed that night. He stays at her house again and they have intercourse. Ross goes to Little's work and they discuss what happened with their sons. They agree that they both crossed the line and that it should never happen again. They get together with both of the boys and tell them that these things need to end. Ian still has feelings for Ross, and eventually they renew the relationship. They learn that Little and Tom never stopped sleeping together. Both Ross and Lil admit that they are happy and they agree to keep going. When Harold returns, Ross tells them that neither she nor Tom can move with him to Sydney. 2 years later, Ross and Harold are divorced and Ross and Lil have continued their secret relationship. Ian now works with his mother, very successful yacht building company, and Tom is studying theatre. Harold invites Tom to Sydney to direct one of their plays, and Tom accepts staying with Harold and his new family. While in Sydney, he meets Mary, who was auditioning for the lead role. The two begin a relationship and Lil reluctantly accepts that he has moved on. Ross and Ian are still together, although Ross knows that he will not be attracted to her for much longer. Finally, the mothers agree to end their affairs with the boys in a subside and storms out. Sometime later, Tom marries Mary and meets a girl at the wedding, Hannah, and decides to sleep with her to get back at Ross. That night he comes to Ross's door and begs her to be let in, but Ross turns him down, crying quietly in her room. Ian goes surfing, but suffers a broken leg in the process. He refuses to see Ross, but Hannah comes to visit him and nurses him through his physical therapy. They begin a relationship. But when Ian and Tom meet up for lunch, Ian mentions that it is going nowhere and that he'll have to break it off. One day Hannah shows up at Ian's work and tells them that she is pregnant. Years passed and now Ian and Tom are both married. And they both have daughters, Shirley and Alice, marrying Hannah. Tom and Ian's wives, respectively, are ignorant of the affairs. They all spend a day together at the beach. And while most are in the water, Ian and Ross share a quiet moment. That night they all eat dinner together, during which Tom gets drunk and takes a walk to clear his head. Ian follows him and sees him having intercourse with Lil. Enraged, he tells Mary the truth. The wives are horrified and leave with the children. When Tom returns later, he finds Ross sitting alone in her room, and she tells Tom that she doesn't think that Mary, Hannah, or their granddaughters will ever return. Lily tearfully insists that she and Tom tried to stop but could not keep away from each other. Ross has no words for Lil. Time passes, and Ian goes for a swim in the ocean until he comes to a free-floating dock in the water, the same dock where he first began his flirtation with Ross. He climbs on board and sees that Tom, Lil, and Ross are there. After telling them good morning, he lies down beside Ross. That was all from the video. I hope you liked it. Subscribe for more content like this and hit the like button to help us out. Also, leave a comment if you want us to explain your favorite movie. Until next time, take care.